through it. Like, you don't treat it as like a cry for attention though. Like, you're not paying for a friend, because my therapist told me a bunch of stuff like I didn't want to hear.
Full free spirited.
Got it.
Thanks for coming, dude. Seriously.
Yeah, anytime. This is rad, man. This is a pretty gnarly thing you got going.
Thank you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a long time to really like put this like together mentally.
Well, it shows too. The effort. Like,
yeah, no, because like my wife helps me edit,
mm-hmm.
but for the main part, I do pretty much everything.
No, this is like a solid thing you got going. Plus, like in your videos, like there's no feet, and like
No, yeah, I don't know why. Like every time that I like angle it, for some reason, like I get it so right to where it doesn't show feet. So I'm like, oh, that's fine by me.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're short, you don't want to like everyone seeing your feet like dangling,
swinging. Or like me, man, like I'll be swinging my feet like this. I'm just nervous.
But it's not. But you can touch the ground if you want to. Like that's.
Oh yeah. I touch the ground. Yeah, that's me stomping. All right, man. Let's get to it. This is what, episode 6 now. So, yeah, 2 minutes to yourself. Tell me, who are you? Who is Juan?
I'm Juan.
Oh, Juan. Sorry.
Firearms instructor. I'm a dad. Work for a firearms manufacturer too. I don't know, man. Like the last couple of years have been like hellacious and awesome all at the same time. Like it's been a gnarly like couple of years.
Gnarly ride. Hellacious and awesome. I like that.
Yeah. No, man. Like it's weird. Like talking about like open book, but it's just like I don't know, man. I never have a problem talking about anything that's been going on, but like last 2.5+ years, like divorce is like one of the like worst things someone can go through.
Okay.
Like even from like all aspects. So I grew up like parents getting divorced, and then now I'm going through one, and like the ramifications of like two people and how it affects a multitude of things is like just insane to me.
Yeah.
But like it's like the stupid thing like people say, like I had to go through like this like really shitty situation, but the amount of like myself like I learned about and I got back, like I haven't felt like it like not normal, but like myself in like years.
Yeah.
Like even when we worked together, like I don't know if you ever knew, but like dude, when it was bad, like I'm already not the biggest fan of people like when I'm solid. Like unless like you're like part of my tribe, like you or like Valentine and like or like Mason and stuff like that. Like I just became like, dude, you did not want to be around me. Like I wasn't nice. Like I'm not polite when I'm not nice, like at all. Like like even when I'm joking around, also, you know what I'd say.
You're like a little intimidating too, because like you're tall, you're full of tattoos. You know what I mean? So it's like
yeah, but now that you
sometimes
know me,
you don't smile. Oh yeah, no, now that I know you,
now you see the teddy bear. Like
yeah, this guy's like a little big gummy bear.
But no, man, like especially like I have like other friends, and now looking back at like what my parents did through their divorce, or like friends that I have that are going through a similar situation right now, like one, like my parents handled that whole situation terribly. But like the one thing like that I'll tell someone is if you're going through divorce and it's like one-on-one, so it's just you don't have any kids, like that's a completely separate thing. But if you have like a kid, you guys need to remove yourself from him, meaning like our fight staying between me and you. It doesn't spill out to the kid. Yeah. So like if I'm pissed at you or angry, whether it's for like past, present, or like future things that are gonna happen, like that doesn't affect the kid. So like if I'm mad at you, like that doesn't mean you're not seeing the kid. Out. Like you're not seeing your kid. Or like now I don't want you doing things with the kid, and vice versa. Like a lot of people like they just want to hurt that person as bad as they were hurt. And like the amount of damage like you can do to your child is like insane when you do that. That's why like I'm sure you see it like on reels and everything, how like people act like when they hold like a kid hostage, more or less. It's like you're cutting someone off from like someone that was like benefiting them, and it's like their other parent. but now because you're upset, that gets taken away. And that like, dude, that leads like people to do like stupid, like crazy things. But it's
Wrong
like,
decisions.
like you've seen videos like where people didn't want people to see their kid, and then someone got shot on the porch, like
Yeah,
over like the dumbest thing.
just anger. It just
Yeah,
like it like fuels up to the point like where you start making rash decisions.
yeah. Like luckily enough, through like my situation with like soon to be like ex-wife, is that's never happened. So
Okay.
like we have like our problems and shit with each other, but if he's with me and like he's a mama's boy like through and through,
Yeah.
like if he's with me and he really like wants to go see his mom, like I'll never fight him on it.
Yeah.
Like that's so fucking dumb to me when people do that. Like,
Like
no, it's
use
my
the
day.
kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like I'll go do that, or like vice versa. If he's at her house and he wants to come hang out, she'll bring him. Like we can be in the middle of like whatever we're arguing about or fighting about, and he'll still like show up. And I think like that's a pretty like big thing. I'm also like pretty fortunate because like how many times have like you heard of like friends or people you know who got divorced and now someone's not seeing that kid for like an
A
extended
span.
amount of time.
Yeah.
It's rough. Like it was even rough when I like moved out. Like I couldn't sleep. Like imagine like I just took you and I put you in another room. Like could you really sleep not having like your son like in the house? Like it's a
No,
lot.
that's a rough one for me. I mean, I kind of experienced it because my wife went to Mexico, and
Similar, yeah,
she took my son for a week for vacation. So I get
yeah.
it.
And you're just like, this is nuts. Like,
Yeah,
because you know everyone's like, oh, I got the house to myself, but then you realize like,
it sucks.
you
It sucks.
realize like how like I'm lonely.
It's like 2 hours gone by, and you're like, well, I did everything. What now?
Yeah, but no, man. Like, so like throughout that whole like process, like I've been in therapy for like a hot minute now. Even before like the divorce and everything was finalized, like we got into like couples therapy, and like when that like like our therapist and her like didn't click, but I just stuck with my therapist because like it was working for me.
Yeah,
I also tell everyone too, like go and do it, like especially as a guy, like if you're like battling a bunch of things, it's a little awkward, like you have to get over certain humps, like you have to get comfortable doing something,
yeah,
but once you do, it's interesting like finding out about yourself from like a neutral standpoint, because like you can complain to your friends all you want and like vent, but at the end of the day, it's biased. And like, unless you have like that one like real dude in your corner, like it's not. But like I realized like how much like anger and like animosity and like how like fucked up like how like all the mistakes I was making, like as much as in my head like it's like not a victim mentality, but like this is unfair. This is like why this is happening to like me.
mm-hmm.
Like it's a harder look when it's like, but what have you done to like make it worse or better?
Yeah,
And then you're like, oh shit, like oh man, like I've made a lot of mistakes, but like from there, like I started getting an insane amount better, like mentally, like my perspective on the world, and it's no longer like me against the world. And I've always, ever since I was little, I've had that mentality.
okay,
But like when I learned how to like process and think before I do something, or if like something like happens, like immediately like not going to like my knee jerk reaction, but like if I were to piss you off, like now I'm not walking away like, oh, Fernando's being sensitive, and now I'm like, oh shit, that was like fucked up. Like I need to like apologize and like stuff like that, and
yeah,
like I never really had like empathy for anyone. Like if someone was in a rough spot, like you did it to yourself, and like now like get yourself out of it. But like through all that, and like when I tell people about it and talk about it, like a lot of people want to complain and like blame divorce, breakup, or like problem on like either other people or an exterior like circumstance.
mm-hmm.
But like if you can't talk about yourself and like your failures in that regards, then you can't talk about like any of your victories.
Yeah,
So like if you're doing really well and that's the only thing you want to like acknowledge and understand, like you need to understand like how many times you failed and what you did wrong to got like get you to that point. Because like for so long I wouldn't talk about anyone, they talk to anyone about my problems. And so it's like anything else, like if like your partner or your husband or your wife or even your friends, if you don't express that there's like a problem going on, whether it's like isolated within you or like they're causing some kind of issue,
Mm-hmm.
like if you don't talk about it, it boils over, and now like a bigger issue has happened, like a massive fight or something like that.
Like talking about like just talking about the problem that's going on, right?
Like it's something that's super simple, like, but like, hey, this is bothering me. But a lot of people, and especially what I had to learn, is I had to learn how to bring up a problem I was having or feeling or going through without making it confrontational.
Okay,
Because if
I
I
get
can,
that.
because I can bring up a problem with anyone,
Yeah,
but like if I like if it's with you, if I bring up a problem that like is really bothering me, but I don't do it in the best way or a way that would like not make you want to rebuttal and would instantly put your defense mechanism on, and then now we're arguing and now
yeah.
we're fighting. Like that was the biggest thing of just being able to like tell someone like, hey man, like
I don't like that you
XYZ.
have that vape right there. No, no,
No, it's cool.
no.
It's cool. It's
So
fine.
like that, right? Like in a sense.
Yeah, or like if we were like hanging out or something and like you said or did something, it's like, hey man, when we were out the other night, like you said this and like it just like bothered me for X amount of reasons. Like if I can do it calmly and just like that, like it also helps that I know you.
Yeah.
Like, of course it's like, oh shit, my bad, dude. Like I didn't like
Yeah,
or like
I didn't mean to.
or even if you misinterpret something it like text messages is the fucking worst.
Oh yeah, dude,
Like
text is the worst.
because
You'll never get the actual point like clear enough.
or like the delivery.
Or just even like the facial expression sometimes. Like sometimes you're like, hey, look, like my bad, bro. I didn't mean to, you know. But in text, it's just like douchebag. You seem like you don't even care.
Yeah, and if you don't know how to punctuate, like which I don't,
For men,
like it's like it makes matters way worse.
what are commas?
Like like the girl it happened yesterday. Like the girl I'm seeing was like she was doing something, and I think she was like waiting for her mom or something to show up, but she didn't show up or not at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And she had texted me that, and I was like, oh really? Like what are you gonna do now? Like exactly
So he just said right now.
exactly. And then like she had like called me. She was like, "Hey, like, what did you mean, like, really?" Like, and she said it in like the, "Oh, really? What are you gonna like?" You know,
Yeah, like
I'm
with
like,
attitude.
no, like that's not it. But yeah, but like learning how to do stuff like that, like now, like, dude, just being like so much less angry and everything that I am now, like, it's crazy, like being happy again. Like,
It sounds like you definitely went through like a lot of like growth, like mental, like just
yeah,
growth in general.
yeah. I mean, I'm I'm still like pretty closed off, like I'm 37. I don't need more friends.
Yeah.
Like I got like
I got like five. That's it. Five is a cutoff
like
limit.
I have my little tribe and everything, but now like when I'm like around my friends, like that's like what I'm focused on. Or like now, like when I'm hanging out with my son or something else, like I'm like present in that moment, like with them. Like my mind isn't 1,000 miles away, like dealing with like another storm.
Yeah.
And so like when people like are going through the divorce or they're going through those hard times, like that was the craziest thing is like being around like my wife and my son and just dude, I'm a million miles away. Like I am so far removed from like what's going on because like I'm either like angry, like upset, anxiety, like like everything, and just like you realize like how much you're missing just like not being present in what you're doing, which was like the craziest thing to me because like dude I would fully like just shut people down when I was pissed off, like, and it's not like an hour or two, like dude I just
Like a day.
a day plus, and like yeah, like no one wants to do that, like
Yeah.
no one wants to be around someone like that. And it's like, you know, when you've been around someone who's like angry or something, like, or upset or whatever, and like you can feel like that energy like coming off of them where you're like, oh man, like
This guy's pissed.
yeah, this dude's pissed off. Like looking
I
back,
get it.
that's how I was treating a bunch of people, and like just being around that, like no one wants that. Like,
I just, it's like draining too, you know. Like it's definitely draining.
mm-hmm,
Like being around people like that is draining. But like I said, I mean, it definitely sounds like you've had a lot of growth because the fact that you like were even like willing to say like, yeah, like, I've gone to therapy.
mm-hmm,
Like me and my wife kind of like talk about this sometimes. We're like, you know, like maybe like we should see therapy not because we have issues between each other, but we just feel like we have issues within ourselves.
yeah,
And so Rose like, you know what, like why not go to therapy, like to kind of get ourselves like, you know, maybe like evaluate it and see like if if there's something really wrong with us or with just with each other. Like I will say this to me right here, honestly, has definitely felt like therapy because
Oh, it has to.
there's been a few moments like where like I've like walked out of here and I'm like, damn, like I've never I've never viewed it like that, and then I'll start changing the ways that I'll act because of a conversation that I had with someone,
Hmm.
and I've noticed it's actually helped me out quite a bit.
Oh, dude, the power of perspective is insane.
Yeah.
Like, especially if it's like, if someone's gone through like a similar experience and you saw how they perceived it, and you're like, oh, you did what? Like that's you went about it that way, and like even if it's something completely different, like some things people don't understand. Like now with therapy, it's super cheap. Like that's the thing. Like I tell people that are going like through it, like you don't treat it as like a cry for attention though. Like you're not paying for a friend because my therapist told me a bunch of stuff like I didn't want to hear, but like no, and it's like if like
Sounds like a good therapist.
yeah, for sure. Like if like people are worried or scared about it, like you don't have to go do it in person. Like I did it all from like video calls on my phone.
Yeah.
Like and I still do. I've never like actually like been in the office. But like just do it. Like even if it's like something not like insanely insane going on with you, it just helps you like become better at like thinking or like as a person.
Or even like like handling, because I will say that too. I do handle situations. Ever since I started this,
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed within myself I've handled certain situations a bit differently.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know what, like I'm seeing from like your point of view, and it's like, man, like maybe I've experienced that too, and I probably just never even noticed. But like
Yeah.
you're right though. Like I definitely I've definitely handled a few things differently now.
Yeah. It's like if you go to the gym to like work out and do everything, that's great. That like that takes care of your body. It nourishes your body, but like being able to like take care of your mind like will nourish like your soul. So like if you get like both like aspects like in balance, like things are a lot better.
Yeah.
But like also like it's like outlets too. Like everyone needs like an outlet for something. Like therapy can only do so much, but like if you just have like if you still have like pent up energy or like aggression or like you feel like you can't express yourself, which like a lot of people are like horrified to do now
Mm-hmm.
because you know whether it's social media or something going on, like people just have an issue like being creative or like expressing that creativity. Like you need something like that. It can be something dumb as long as it makes you happy and it like gives you that like zen like state that where like you can process and think and hang out and like just be comfortable. Like I always tell everyone, like you need a hobby. Like you need like a real hobby.
Yeah. It's hard, man. I feel like a lot of people like I think you kind of mentioned a little bit back then. It's hard for people to really express themselves too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I met a few friends that like have told me of a situation, but like, dude, it takes them like maybe 20 minutes to even try to tell me the beginning of it
Yeah.
because they can't express themselves. Like they truly can't. And I feel like going back to a little bit what you were saying before, I feel like maybe that's some of the root of the problems where people have that miscommunication.
Mm-hmm. It's also like defend like your culture and like how you grew up as a kid.
That too.
Like
That's a big one.
yeah, I grew up like I'm half Puerto Rican, half white, so like I was never like Spanish enough for like the Spanish kids.
Yeah.
Also didn't help like being born in like Puerto Rico, lived there for like the first couple years of my life. I I can barely fucking speak Spanish.
Papi.
Like, you know exactly like that's
Papi.
it. Like I have my little phrases, but like that was it. So like I realized too as I grew up and I started like jumping around like different groups of friends and everything that that's a massive thing and how it's like perceived as like weakness or like you're a pussy like to like just like to feel, which is like insane because it's like you said, like your friends or whatever, depending on like how you grew up and like what your house life was like, or even like your culture, like what.
No, that's a big one, dude. Because like I didn't mean to cut you off, but like honestly, because that is one thing that I feel like goes on a lot nowadays. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have like friends that they would tell me, "Oh yeah, no, like I used to tell my dad everything. I used to tell my dad when I felt sad. I used to tell my mom when I
Mm-hmm.
felt depressed, everything." And I'm like thinking, and I've spoken to my Spanish friends. They're like telling my dad I'm depressed.
Like you've
God
been hit with the
no,
face with a chancleta before,
bro.
like
Like
that's what happened.
I'm gonna get hit. Like what do you mean I can't? And I feel like it's a it's like a macho thing, like or not even that too, but like in the Spanish community,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard, bro. Like I've known a lot of kids that tell me, yeah, I can't express myself to my parents.
Yeah.
They're gonna tell me to suck it up and be a man.
Yeah. Well, that's a big thing too, because like think of how our dads like grew up. Like no, there was
Yeah,
no like I feel sad or depressed. Like it's I like and I understand that. Like I get it. Like
it's a different time. You know,
yeah,
like my dad wasn't born here. You know, my dad came from Mexico, and he told me he's like 12 years old, bro. He's like, you were still going to school at 12. I was working at the fields,
yeah,
and still ended up deciding to quit school just so I can make money. So it's
yeah.
like I get it. Like it's definitely my dad has tried to change now because like I've told him I'm like, you know, like I wish I could speak to you,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and so
Because it's wild.
it is.
Like my dad was like the same way. Like he was in the Marines for like 21 years. So like as funny and as like lighthearted like my dad is, like holy shit, dude, that dude was my worst fucking nightmare.
I feel like
Like
every kid's dad is their worst nightmare.
like it was like I grew up in just the most like I don't like using the word like trauma because I feel like that gets thrown around way too much because like dog, not everything's traumatic.
That's true.
like,
I'm glad you said that.
like
Honestly, I'm really glad you said that.
so like I'll double back to what I was about to say, but I'll this is what I'll talk about like with therapy right quick. Like
Mm-hmm.
dude, I have friends that are in therapy, and it's like trauma or depression or like all these things. Like if we're going with all things, like anything can be trauma, right? Then you
Okay.
have to accept that there's levels to it. So if your parents yelled at you for not cleaning your room or not doing what you're supposed to do, and that like and this might go back to like how our parents like
Yeah.
we have a hard time connecting with them. It's like if that's your definition of like trauma, like fuck, I'm not saying it's not because you know who knows what they were yelling at you, but like
Yeah.
you also might just be like a wimp, like
No, that's I agree. I really do.
yeah.
I agree.
And then like dude, like then there's people that have really gone through it, like friends that I know like from the military or friends like even stateside they just went through like a horrific event and it's like yeah like no
Yeah, that's some shit that
that
was whoa
that
scar you.
like and that's what I mean and I don't mean like I don't know I'm not trying to make fun of anyone but just understand like there's a difference between being like like slapped and curb stomped and trauma has to be approached the same way and a lot of people like they use it as crutches like I have an insane amount of friends in recovery. Um, some of them have probably the best mindset I've ever seen, but anyone that's like I found that's in recovery or they're battling something else, like the best way I've explained it to someone and it because it was explained to me this way is like if you're going through that, like
Okay.
the world's not going to change around you. Like you need to understand that. So you need to understand to stay in this world. And what I mean by that is like some of my friends in recovery, like if they were going to meet with a bigger group of friends and like some and it was like at a restaurant or like at someone's house and someone had a beer, like, oh no, I can't be here. I gotta leave, or like you gotta get rid of the beer. Mind you, like no one's no one's forcing you to drink like anything like that.
Yeah.
And if you can't be around it, then we need to take a step back and like, you know, just focus more.
Rework.
Exactly. Like but it's the same way I approach that and people like that are battling like their depression or whatever they're going on with. Like, dude, I'm your friend and I'll sympathize for you and I get it, but that stuff isn't going to go away. Like the world doesn't have to cater to you because you're going through something. Like that's on you. Like
I like
it's
that.
and like it sounds like hurtful or cold and it's true.
No, it is.
Like the world's not going to change for you. You need to understand that like there's something wrong with you and you need to control it. And so if you can't, you keep working at it until you get that control and then you can go forward again. But like I hate it when people would use it as a crutch. Like my friends that are bipolar, like when they're on like the low and like they're being like an asshole and a piece of shit and like all like they're not being nice. Like they're like, oh, my bad, it's because I'm bi. Like, I don't care, man. That's on you to control. Like,
Yeah.
if you can't control that and you're not doing what you need to do to become more in control of that, like, I don't need to come around you. Like, I just don't. Like, I understand you have something, but that's on you to control.
And if you don't really want to actually work on it, then it's
Yeah,
like, why
and
am I still gonna be here?
and then everyone says the same thing, like, oh, you don't understand. Like, no, I do. Like, I don't. It doesn't give me. I don't have the right to be a piece of shit to people because I'm going through something,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. Like you don't. Like, and a lot of people will like almost like it's like a joke that like, oh, bipolar. Sorry, I did all this stuff, and it's like, no, that's
It's
not.
like it's like people want an excuse to like get away,
Yeah.
people want an excuse to get away with something that they did.
Mm-hmm.
No, no, I mean I'm glad you said that too, honestly, because
Like that shit irks me like to my
no,
wits
it,
end.
it does. And, like I have some a client that we were talking about. And he was like, no, like, because I was telling him about the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and I mentioned the word trauma.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, dude, I grew up with so much trauma, and I was like, really? And like I said, just force of habit, I was like, how come? Talk to me about it. I was like, damn, probably shouldn't have asked him.
You got to be careful asking people that now. Doing what you do.
Oh yeah, no, I
Yeah.
know. And he just goes, "Oh no, dude, just my parents, man. It's just I hate them, bro. They would constantly just be yelling at me, and every time I hear people yell, it just drives me crazy." And once again, I'm just like so in tune like with my haircut and the conversation that I was like, what did they yell at you?" And he was like, "Oh, like I remember my mom would get mad because she would yell at me for not cleaning up my room, and then she would get my dad because then I wouldn't go mow the lawn, and my dad would have to come and yell at me because he would say he's too tired to do it coming home from work. And in my head, I'm just like, it's not really trauma, dude. It's just help out,
Yeah.
Like at that point, I don't want to dig in deeper, but I'm like,
It's almost like you
you
get closed
just
off. You're like, that's
yeah
enough.
yeah like I'm good, bro. Like you just said, your dad was coming home from work late.
Yeah.
Help out.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom, she probably had to work too, Like every mom needs help nowadays, because it's a lot. Like like
Yeah.
motherhood is a lot. So, but yeah, same thing though. Like I'm just like, it's not really trauma, bro. Like you can't just be sitting there throwing it. You can't sit there and throw the word trauma around and then you find out it's something stupid like that. It's like, bro, like
Yeah.
kind of like you said, stop being a wimp, bro. Like tighten up.
Like, and don't get me wrong, there's such a give and take with it. Like, yeah, there like legitimately is trauma, and like
No, there is
you
one
go
hundred
through it and
percent.
you deal with it. But like, and then there's people that are just wimps. Like, and like that's okay. You just have to acknowledge it. Like you need like this is another
No, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
like bullying like needs to come back. Like, and like I hate saying that because like I can't, because as someone as who was bullied, but then I learned how not to be bullied. Like, you need thick skin, man. Like, you just can't buy a helmet and go through the world. Like you just need to learn to be tough and take it. But once you understand, once you can like take criticism, people yelling at you and doing all these things, or just being stuck in situations that are bad, and you can operate fine. Like, when you start working on yourself, already being thick skinned and everything else, like, you'd be surprised what you can accomplish now, because over learning how to deal with like bad situations or like bullying and stuff like that, when you're ready to like work on yourself, now whatever that therapist is about to say to you, like, it's not like soul crushing or the end of your world. It's just
It's
like,
not gonna come hurtful. It's gonna come out of like, oh, you know what? Like she's right. Like
yeah.
let me work on it.
Well, because I feel like once you like learn how not to be bullied and you start toughening up, you learn how to become like accountable. Like, because I got picked on, beat up, and everything when I was little, and like how I looked at it as being accountable was like I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't sit back and let it happen. Like, like, but
I didn't really think of it like that.
yeah, and then vice versa, when I'm learning how to take care of my mind with like my therapist, like you don't sit back and it's gonna happen. Like, you hear what she's saying and like it hurts, but you're not defeated by it, because now like when you're going through something mentally and you're being bullied physically, like,
Mm-hmm.
you learn how to deal with it. And like that's the biggest thing is, once you understand that, like, one, if something's not okay, like, okay, well, how do I take care of it then?
How do I work on it?
Because I went through so many things in life just thinking like it's okay or like this is the way it's supposed to be. Like I'm sure you've gone through that, or like especially as a man, or like you've seen like your dad just do something because this is like what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like what we just touched on, like dudes aren't supposed to like talk about what they're going through or like how they're feeling, which is silly. But like once I got all that stuff like under control, like I was like, oh man, this is insane. Like,
Yeah.
but the premise of it is just like you have to understand there's like a give and take with trauma or going through something. Like it sucks when you go through it. Understand that like there's levels to it. And when you really sit back and think about it, is like, was this really that bad? Or
Then I kind of like
like you know what I
overreact
mean?
on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And like it can't become your crutch. Like everything we go through, like it just can't become your crutch. It can't become your excuse why you don't do something. Like I know it's easier said than done, and I know it's like a shit ton of work to go through and like resolve and take care of and like come to terms with, but it doesn't give you an excuse not to do something.
And I will say this too. I feel like, so for example, like I feel like if I were to say most of that stuff, some people would be like, "Oh, like you're just being harsh, you're just being mean." But coming from you, and it's coming from someone that is going to therapy,
Mm-hmm.
it's different because then it's like, okay, you know what, like he's actually going through it,
Yeah.
compared to me, who's just they might look at me as like, oh, like he's just saying that because he's just saying it, you know, it's what he feels like. You're relatable is what I'm trying to say when it comes to that, like to those situations. You're relatable because
Yeah.
people are like, you know what, I actually can relate. Why? Because he's going to therapy.
Yeah.
He's actually working on himself. He's not just saying bullshit to just say it.
It's like if anyone ever like here's another okay, so here's a better way to put it. So or a better example. So did like whether current or previous, like did you ever fight with um your wife or like ex-girlfriends, and like let's say it's like it's a you know a big fight or whatever,
Okay.
it's serious. And you call like your friend or like your parent to like tell them like what's going on.
Yeah.
When you talk to them, like what were they saying? Like it's just you can make up an example or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you talk to them, what was their rebuttal to you?
They would sometimes say, "Oh, just listen. Uh, just think it over."
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes they'll just be like, "You know what? Just leave. You don't need that mess in your life. You know what I mean? Shit like that."
See, that's wild that like you said that first half, because like every time that's happened to like um me, it was always like also maybe I was just making bad decisions. So like my friends would always just be like oh dude, you gotta like get out of that, that's not good, like dump her, leave her, do everything else, and everything like that. And so if that's what you're expecting when you go to therapy, it's not. It's like when you go to therapy, it's the latter. It's like that first half of what you said, which is wild to me because I've never heard that. Like the
I'm
therapist is
wise, baby.
like you tell them about the situation going on, like, cool, how did you contribute to that? And you're like, what? Like, no. Like,
I wanted you to tell me to leave.
yeah, but like that's the thing when you have to become accountable and you're like, fuck, I am the problem.
I think like that just because it's like it's definitely something that like just experiences that I've gone through in life. It's made me feel accountable because then like from like a very young age, one thing I will say is my dad did tell me like, listen, if you lie or if you're lying or anything, just say it up front.
Mm-hmm.
It's better to just deal with it now than having to deal with it 2 weeks later. So I guess maybe that's why I'm like that, you know, like it's just like, oh, like what did I do? Like if I pissed her off or she's mad about this, what did I do? Like why? You know what I mean? So, probably a bad example.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that's perspective.
Yeah, perspective.
Perspective. But like that's what always amazed me is like like, oh man, I'm somewhere in life where I don't want to be and it's super messed up. Going to therapy, like, what do you mean I contributed? Like,
I made it. I made it happen.
Like, what do you?
I'm the victim.
Yeah, like, what do you mean I made this happen? But like, once you learn that, like, you learn to treat people differently. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I'm still not above violence, but now it's like it's a much like there's a lot more policies and procedures
Yeah.
mentally before we have to get there.
Like fill out this form.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oof, you better check off 4 more boxes.
If I get the right hooks.
But like, once I learned to become accountable and everything became easy. Now,
Yeah, that's
like,
good, man.
now my knee jerk reaction wasn't getting mad, wasn't like shutting people off, wasn't instantly just becoming a bigger problem. Is like I'd hear it, like I'd process it, and I'm like, yeah, all right, that's me. I'm like, this is me being,
Yeah,
this is it.
I did that.
Yeah, but like I remember like I could have ADHD too. I never got diagnosed for it either, but like I can remember like going through all these things, and I always I always needed to have noise around me. Like I'd have like a TV on, I'd have like music playing, and I'd be on my phone. So I
Yeah.
can't hear shit. Like, and everything's loud. Like nothing's muted. Everything's at equal levels.
No, that's just the Spanish side in you.
I did not have any fabuloso out. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
no, I'd have all that stuff going around, and I would just be like sitting with all that noise.
Yeah.
And then I realized like, because my ex-wife would always say something to me, or like my little dude would just do it, and I would always have all these things going. And I realized like once I started going to therapy and like started like mentally getting a lot better, like I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like now there's no TV, there's no that. I'll like play on my phone, but it's like one of those things at a time now.
Yeah.
And I realized just like I just needed something to like numb my mind or like distract me constantly. And so like before all this, like especially when it was bad, like when it was like the like the road to WrestleMania, it's like the road to divorce. Like when it
Yeah.
was like really getting bad, like I hated being by myself. Like, and I think that's why like I did not like the thought of being by myself, just because like when you're by yourself you have to like it's just you, so like
Yeah.
whatever thought, yeah,
You really started like self thinking, like self evaluating yourself.
yeah. And so like I would get like I'd either get like super bummed or like super like angry, just like constantly like rethinking the day or like other events and stuff like that. And like I hated it. Now like since I've gotten better, like I I really treasure like my solitude now. Now
Yeah.
when I'm by myself, I'm not scared to be lost in my own thoughts. Like now it's like I
It's
can
like it's
breathe.
peace.
Yeah. Like finding peace is a good way to put it, or like finding oh, man, I always forget the word, but being like content with everything.
Okay.
Like like I'm good across so many levels. I still have like things I need to accomplish, but like I'm like just good. Like I'm not running around to do all these other things. Like now that I'm like content in what I have and like what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
like everything's easy now. And like I don't think people can understand enough. Like once you start getting certain things right, it's like everything else. Everything else will like fall into place. Like you'll still run into like snags. It's
Yeah.
just life.
That's part of being part of being a human.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, I will say, that's something that me and my wife usually talk about because we have a lot of friends that like they can't stay out of relationships. They have to like one ends and in 2 weeks they got to be in another one. And we were always like, damn, like why can't people be by themselves?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I've never even thought about that. Like what you just said, like the moment that you're by yourself, not dating anyone,
Yeah.
not going like, you really start self evaluating. You're like, oh my god, like I'm the problem.
Yeah.
I'm this, I'm that, and instead of people wanting to think that, they'll be like, you know what, let me just
Yeah.
hop into something else.
Because it stacks too. So if you're already going through that, and now you're not around your kid, so now you already miss your kid.
It just
It's
doubles up.
yeah, and this is like your first like night or two or week or whatever. Like it took me a really long time to get used to sleeping without my son there because I already don't sleep anyway. I get like 3 hours of sleep and I'm like solid. That's not a joke. Like I literally most of the days I get like 3 to 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Six like when I'm on vacation. But like
PTO.
what you said to like people like who can't stay out of relationships, it's the same thing. Like some people just don't like being alone,
Yeah.
which I understand, but like you really gotta like you really have to understand like who you are. Like even before like I wanted to date anyone after everything, because like when I finally left, because we were already getting divorced, but I stayed at my house for like months.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't go anywhere, and like that was like wreaking havoc on me. So like you imagine like coming home and like looking at your front door from the outside, and you're like, dude, I do not want to fucking go in that house.
I can't even imagine that.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, my son's in there, and that's like a major driving factor to like want to go in there. But like, dude,
Besides your son, though, like it's
yeah, it's like you're looking at like somewhere where you live, and you just don't want to go inside that building. Like,
yeah, that's rough, man.
dude,
I can't even begin to fathom or to even think about that.
dude, I would like stay late at work, and I should like when I would go to work, like you've even been to like classes I've done, like I'm super early to everything I
Yeah,
do, like just to get out. Like, that's insane. Like, because I hate work, especially where we worked together. Like, that job was god awful.
that was
But
probably
like
the worst. No, I don't want to say the worst time of my life, but it was definitely
up
like,
there,
well,
like
yeah, it was
top
up there.
top 10,
Top 10, top 5, maybe top 5.
top 5. But like, and that's like that was the shittiest thing, is like being able like not sleeping and like doing all these things. But imagine just not wanting to go in your home.
And home is peace, man.
Mm-hmm.
I look at my house as like peace, you know, like
It has to. It's like it has to be your castle. But so now that I felt that way, and then I get out, like luckily a friend reached out, like they had a room, and so that's just where I went. I'm still there now, but like now I don't feel this way, but now I'm at my house. I'm still feeling like my new house. I'm still feeling some kind of way, but now I don't have my son,
yeah.
and it's like, it's about to get fucking harder.
Because then, like once again, like your mind probably starts to like start going down that path of like
It's a rabbit hole.
yeah.
It's almost like quicksand when you're going through it. Like, you sooner or later you're in over your head, and you don't know how fast it got there.
That's rough, man.
Dude, it
That's something that
sucks.
I feel like I think I mentioned it like this last time, like in my last episode or two ago, but like it's hard for me to even think about not having my wife or my son with me for like a day. Like it truly is. Like don't get me wrong, like a few hours a day without them, I'll be cool because I'm like looking at it as like as like oh like my mental break. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well, yeah.
But then it's like God, man, like going at night, like I'm so used to going to bed and having my wife next to me that I can't even imagine going to bed and turning around and she's not even there.
Yeah.
Like I feel like my mind will like probably like lose itself or my son.
It's yeah, dude. It's man. If anyone's going through that, like whether it's divorce or like a breakup, but you guys have kids, like dude, it's gonna take a toll on you. There's no way you get out of it like solid, unless you're just a piece of shit and you just bail.
Like a bed like a deadbeat dad.
Exactly.
It's
Or
like
mom,
no
but
no
like
no no my
like,
kids are leaving and then door closes.
fucking I'm set. I'm back to living my dream. But
Well,
like,
so let me ask you, like, what advice would you give to someone that is going through, like, what advice would you give to a father right now that is going through a divorce?
um, kids or no kids, because it's a different approach.
No, kids.
Kids. So the biggest thing is like you need to like keep it separate. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, because it bothers me when people do this. No matter what your problem is with like your ex-wife,
Mm-hmm.
do not talk about that shit in front of your kids. Like, if she pisses you off, if she cheated, if she, this, that, and the other, do not talk about that shit in front of your kids. Don't talk about those problems like in front of your kids. Like, and what I mean by that is, if they have questions on the situations,
Yeah,
answer them to the best of your ability. If it's something super fucked up and you really don't feel like,
talking about it.
and they're super young especially, like, let them know there's an issue, but you're a parent, you can doctor what you're
Yeah,
saying to them. um but
don't beat down on the other parent.
yeah,
Okay.
especially like a lot of people do it on like the phone or with their friends, and then they're like, this bitch, or like, that motherfucker, and like they're saying like all these super nasty things about their partner, like men and women. Like,
Yeah. No.
do
Yeah.
not do that. Like, you couldn't make, like, the argument you would have to make for that to be remotely okay is it
They hit you or like a physical abuse. I
it's
guess.
something, yeah, it's something insane like that. But don't talk about that stuff in front of your kids. Like, don't use your kid as a weapon. They're not a hostage.
Or shield.
Like you and your partner were a couple before you were parents, and you need to remember that. You guys as a couple is now dissolving, which fucking happens. But you guys are parents, that's never going to dissolve.
Yeah.
So like you still are going to like you need to actually have a solid plan like with your partner. Like luckily with me and my ex, a lot of things are just they're we're still like doing what we're supposed to be doing, like raising him. Like
Yeah.
there's no massive conflicts of interest, or not a big enough problem that me and her are gonna brawl about it. You know what I mean? Um, but you have to just make sure no matter what your kid is getting everything they need and more. But you have to really work on just separating the problems you have like with your ex partner. Like I get if like there's child support issues and stuff like that, which happens to like so many
Yeah.
people.
It happens all the time, unfortunately.
But you just need to remember like you guys are still parents and really keep that in mind that like is this issue that's going on important enough to make sure like that kid doesn't see that parent. That's like the biggest thing is just you have to keep your shit separated. Don't talk shit about your partner in front of your kid, um, and answer questions that they have. Like that's the biggest thing.
Like, I never obviously went to that because my parents are still together.
That's wild. That's even sad. I have to say that.
Oh, dude, like bro, I don't think, now that I think of it, I don't think I've interviewed anybody that their parents have been together.
Which is wild.
I don't think so. Like, if I'm gonna
But
if I'm gonna run through it right now, like no, I really don't think so. I don't know.
part so part of the reason too is my theory on it is
Mm-hmm.
it's easy for people to walk away because of like now it's like on social media and what's becoming more accepting is like our culture, I guess, like in the US.
Yeah,
Any relationship like is hard. And like not hard in a bad way, but like you have to like it's upkeep. You
yeah,
always need to do fucking upkeep. Like it's just like love isn't enough. Like it can be a huge driving force,
it's true though.
but like dude, you just need to make sure like everyone's all right, or you have to make sure your partner's doing good. Like you have to like learn to listen to them, but you're not listening to them and waiting your fucking turn to talk. That's not listening. That's waiting to talk. That's a big difference.
That's just waiting to attack.
Exactly.
The way I see it.
Like understand where they're coming from, like help them out like whenever you can. Like and I'm not saying like if someone's needy, like don't cater that shit, but like if like someone's going through a rough patch or like a bad day or whatever, like just be there for them. Like you'd be insane, like you'd be amazed at what that can do for someone.
Oh, of course.
Like and understand that like when it's really good for you and your partner, chances are it can and will get really bad. Not necessarily between like you guys, but like circumstance. Someone
Oh,
can
yeah.
get fired. You guys can both get fired. Um, like deaths happen, like that are close to people, and it affects everyone. It certainly affected like my ex, but like understand that like you have to be able to go through both. It's not fair to your partner, like to be super stoked to going through the good times with them, and then when it
Yeah.
gets bad, now it's an issue. Because a lot of people will do that. Like I always tell people, be careful, like because as like as men, like what is like our DNA breakdown? It's like take care of our family, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's like, fortunately.
And so like when that's happening, like if someone loses their job and you're the only one working, like there's going to be so many factors that are going to mess with you guys. Because let's say you're working all day and now you're about to have two kids, but let's say, mom's at home and she didn't do stuff like in the house that needed to get done because, life happens, baby happens, and all this other stuff. But when you come home tired of shit and you still see this like mess, if your knee jerk reaction is to like, the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Like, my house isn't clean. Like, you didn't do shit all day. Like, you
Suck.
don't work. Bam. Like, little fucking. But, like, people need to understand, like, that's how things breed and get out of control.
Oh, absolutely.
where like, especially if you didn't bring it up right then and there, like you come home, you see like, I should probably preference this can go the other way also. Like,
No, of course, of course. Like
like
you come home and you're like, really, babe, the lawn's not mowed.
well, just like, you know what I mean? Yeah, like the wife can come home and like the husband didn't do shit either. Like this is a two-way fucking street.
No, no, it is most definitely is. Like, I listen, I'll be a fault too. Like, there's some things that I should get done too that I have to get done.
Yeah,
Haven't had the time to.
but right, but so those are
yeah.
little circumstances. But like, so let's say you're not working and your wife is like full-time working and everything. Like, if you miss like one thing and then it becomes like another thing and like certain things just aren't happening, and all of a sudden like if you can't bring up there's an issue, even if it's just you want to vent to your partner, like, hey, I worked all day, it sucks that like X, Y, and Z like is going on. And then if you're that partner that's home that legitimately like, dude, baby was insane today, like other things happen. Like if you guys can't have a conversation to understand like shit, it's bad luck. Like it is what it is. Like it's gonna get significantly worse. But you have to be able to bring it up and understand that like it's always about like balance. And I've got friends that, you know, their significant other who are female are covering a majority of all their stuff, like bills and everything, which is fine. But I always, based on my past experience, is I always tell people be super careful with that. Like if your one partner is like covering everything and it's fine, like just make sure that like it is fine, but you're doing the things you need to be doing
As well.
as like that balance.
Yeah.
Because you like, and I don't care what someone says. Like if I can get to the point where I can provide for like a partner or something and they don't have to do anything, that's great. But that's not like a pass just to fucking
Yeah.
like do anything you want. Like no, there's still like things we have to take care of. Like we still have to. And I would mind you, if I ever meet the person that just wants me to be a stay-at-home dad, like fucking 6 a.m. Fabuloso, let's run it. I've got baby carriers on, like
sponges.
We're going to Trader Joe's, motherfuckers. Gonna make carbonara tonight. Like, but a lot of people just don't understand that it takes balance and it takes work. So like, if you guys are together, understand like there's good days and bad days. Learn how to operate in the bad days because those are difficult.
Like, you know, I'll put me and my wife as an example, as a big one. Kind of like what you were saying. Like, I'm a full time. Like I work full time.
Yeah.
My wife is a full time mom. She
Mhm.
stays home, and perfect example. You know, like there was one day. It was a really crappy day. I had crappy clients to like deal with. I went home, and she made me dinner, but like clothes weren't folded.
Mhm.
There was a lot of things that weren't done at the house, for example.
Mhm.
And I got mad because I'm like, brother, I've been stuck at work all
Mhm.
day dealing with people.
Yeah.
And you've been home. But then I was like, you know what? Let me breathe. Let me have some dinner, and I'll go about it. And then I'll sit down and be like, hey, but I'm not gonna lie to you, like it just kind of bothered me that like I gotta come home from a shitty day at work, and now I gotta do all this. You know, I have to help you out. But then you're right. It's all about how you come up. It's all about how you say everything. And then I was like, you know what? How was your day? Like, what happened today? And she was like, oh, you have no idea.
Yeah.
He did this. He did that. This ended up happening. This went wrong. This went completely south. And then it's just like, damn.
I'm sure hearing that, all of a sudden you're going back over your plate. Like I'll bring it. You know what?
Yeah.
Like,
you want Oreos tonight?
Yeah.
You want double stuffed Oreos tonight?
But because you took that stupid like moment of pause, where it's just like, let me do something else right quick, and then we'll go from there. And I'm sure like the second like you heard the third thing, you're like, this isn't a big deal. I forgot. People have their own fucking problems.
Yeah, no, and at the end of the day, it's like, dude, like I respect and I love my wife so much because it's like, honestly, like it's a lot. Like so like that same day, like I was upset because like, you know, I just had a shit day at work. And then I sat down and I was like, you know what? Just because I had a shit day at work, it doesn't mean that anger and frustration should be taken out on her just because some things weren't done. And I know my son's a pain in the ass, bro. My son is like, God, bro, that kid is
trying.
I'm trying to say it in a nice way.
Yeah.
But then you know what? She told me everything, and I was like, dude, like, you know what, babe?
I gotta go beat my kid.
No. Come here, son. No, it's like, and it's like what you're saying. It's like you really have to be understanding, honestly. Like you
Mm-hmm.
really do. And I'm like that. Like I feel like I am very understanding. Like my wife can sit there and tell me about how her day was, and before I react and I say something, I let her speak, and I'm like, you know what? Like, talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
How was today?
Yeah.
How did today go? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I see you didn't get the dishes done, and I see you didn't do this, and I see you didn't do this. Like, what happened today? Like,
Yeah.
how was he today? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then she'll talk to me, but you know what? Like, don't worry about it. So like now, like honestly, like I'm at the point now, and it's kind of like you said, like there has to be balance. Like just because I work all day, dude, I love what you said. Just
Yeah.
because I work all day doesn't give me a pass to be like, oh, you know what? I'm not doing shit today because I worked.
Yeah.
Like that shouldn't be a pass. And
Like
I
a
love
lot
that
of
you said
people,
that.
but a lot of couples, and this is specifically for fucking parents. Like, no,
No,
like
no, you're right.
I got bad news. Your work was like your getaway.
No,
Like,
and so it's funny. It's funny. I said that like 2 episodes ago. I'm like, yo, like me being here is like a break from everything over there.
yeah.
Like it really is.
Well, because you just have to focus on one thing when you're here.
Yeah, which is
Like,
just these dudes
yeah.
or chicks.
I mean, you've always focused on dudes, but I mean that's why we got along. No, but like the biggest thing is like, dude, I fucking like hated this. Was like I'd come home from work, and this is like when I was cooking. So I'm talking about like,
When you were a chef.
yeah, like 16-hour days, and then I would get home and like not even like a moment to like myself or something, but it was almost like you're tagged in now. So like, man, you had no problem. Like now in hindsight, like I realize I could have done it better, but like I would just be in the door, and then it's like you're tagged in, so now you're on like dad mode and everything, and like there's still like
Tag.
you're like I still have to like fix myself something to eat because people have been asleep for hours now.
Yeah.
Like I still have to do all these things, and it's like now I gotta like now I have baby, like, and it's a lot to like to be that overwhelmed and like thrown at like right when you come in the door. Like it sucks, but it's like I said, it's balance.
Yeah.
Like if your parents, you have to understand like and look at it from the person who's coming home. If you're that stay at home parent, like when someone comes right in through that door, the last thing you want to do is bombard them with shit. Like
And my wife, and sorry to cut you off, but like my wife feels like that. Like
yeah,
she genuinely sometimes feel bad, like me coming home and then we have to get all these things done,
yeah,
and she feels like that. But then I'm like, yo, at the end of the day, like it's okay.
yeah,
Don't, because it's like I gotta take some of this load off of you
yeah.
because you've been dealing with it all day.
And like that's the thing is like I get it. There's some days where it's like you walk in, it's like, oh shit, I have to get right into this other project.
Yeah,
That I'll forever understand. Like that's something that needs no explanation. But when it keeps getting like dog piled on you, like if it gets to the point like, and dude, this is my biggest point of contention in a relationship. Like if you even come through that door and you're not even being greeted, like you get like a
it's like,
hey,
yo, what's up, bro?
what's up?
What's up, roommate?
Oh my fucking god, dude!
I started something.
Like that's exactly how it was. So regardless, you work all day and you miss people, and then you come in and then you barely get like a what's up,
Like the look,
and
like
then
the
you have to
nod.
do all these other things. Like that shit wears on you so much. So like if someone is in that situation and you're the stay-at-home parent, like I get it. Like you went home, like let's say kids have been like nuts or everything, like give them like 30 minutes. Like when your partner comes in through that door, give them like 30 minutes. Let
Yeah,
them get dressed, let them fucking for 30 minutes just catch up on what they do, like acknowledge the shit out of them when they come in. Like that's a big thing. Turns out like that is a big thing to me. Um and then then fucking you guys do what you have to do, but just don't like bombard them, but like understand like what you said, like you come home, there's no off time as a parent. Like
yeah,
come in, like if you see everything's balanced and okay, like cool, take a couple minutes, do your thing, like get ready to switch into like dad mode now and
yeah.
like partner mode. But but if you come home and like the fucking house is on fire and there's like just anarchy going on, like no, like you gotta get right
Step
into it.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like get like hop in. But that's just the biggest thing, man. But a lot of people will do that and they'll let the partner just like go further and further and further away to where nothing's getting done at the house, and now that becomes a problem. Or if it's even being perceived that that's what they're doing, like what you said, how you talk to your wife, like, hey, is everything okay? Like, I noticed, like, and even then, it's like you got to really phrase what you're trying to ask in that
No, no, yeah,
situation.
yeah. And I mean, luckily,
But you,
I'm just grateful because my wife's understanding too.
yeah, and it's also she understands like what you're asking,
Yeah, yeah.
like you know what I mean. But like, if it's getting the perception that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, now it becomes a problem because now animosity builds that I'm at work all day, I'm having to pay all these bills, you're not working, and now like
You're just
these things are
home.
happening.
Yeah.
Like that's the trade off. And if someone wants to argue like anything about that, like I'm like you're gonna be in for a rough day. like
No, yeah.
like
I'll say that that was definitely something that me and my wife really had to go through in the beginning because me and my wife just we dated.
mm-hmm,
She got pregnant, and we just moved in just like that. We didn't move in as a couple. We moved in as like parents already.
mm-hmm.
So that was definitely like rough. And honestly, I'm really glad you mentioned that because that was one of our biggest things. Like that was one of my things in the beginning. Like I would come home, like yo, like I just came home, like what's up? Like
Yeah.
why is everything undone?
And how fast? So sorry to cut you
No,
off.
go ahead.
How fast did it go to that?
Like what do you mean?
Like I'm sure like you went to work, you might have saw like something was like out of place, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Second day, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like a couple times in a row, and then you're like, I got a
Oh man,
problem now.
yeah. How fast? Oh, so like how fast did I start feeling that way?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it was quick.
Yeah.
It was like within a week.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like within a week, I was
Yeah.
like, yo, like what's up?
Cool. Now imagine you didn't bring it up. Now imagine it's been 3 weeks and you've been noticing this, and now you are really feeling some kind of way. How do you think you're going to bring that up?
Oh, you're just gonna explode.
How do you think you're going to bring up the conversation, Joan? Because like another fight could trigger, like, something else
Yeah.
completely random.
You farted.
Yeah. But you haven't expressed how you're feeling, and now you're fighting about this fart, and all of a sudden, like, you haven't been fucking, and now you've just blindsided someone.
Yeah.
But that's the problem as dudes, because that's what we do. Like, we'll let shit sit and fester and in relationships, and like, you could be feeling like this way for such a long time that now when you fight, you're bringing up a problem no one knew someone had a problem with.
I've experienced that a little bit.
Yeah.
Not with my wife though, but like with other people. Like
Yeah.
they've sat there and told me they got problems with me, and I'm just like,
Why didn't you tell me?
yeah. I'm like, oh, like, you could have just told me. Like, have you not noticed? I'm calm. I'm collective. Like, just tell me.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there and explode on you.
Yeah.
It's happened. But no, I mean, dude, like that was honestly a huge point.
Mm-hmm.
That was really a huge point. Like,
Yeah, you got it. Like,
you just got to know how to talk, man. You have to. My whole thing is you just have to be very understanding too.
mm-hmm.
Like that's one thing, and I feel that's what my love. That's what my love. That's what my wife loves about me is that I truly am like very understanding. Like you're right.
Yeah.
I felt like that within a week. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Like I felt like that within a week. I'm like, bro, what the hell? Nothing's done.
Yeah. And imagine if you didn't bring it up. Like how much
I brought it up,
yeah.
and she talked to me about it, and I was like, man, you know what? Like, this is rough. Like, you know what? Like, she actually went through a lot today. So from now on, like ever since then, this was years ago too. Like I mean, not years ago, like a year ago, because we've been together living what almost 3 years now, 2 years. I brought this like ever since then. Like now, I come home, I'm always greeted by my son screaming,
yeah,
looking at me.
Yeah,
my wife gives me a hug and a kiss.
Like, dude,
my plate's always done like already. She lets me eat. She's like, yo, do what you want to do. And then I'll even be like, all right, babe, I'm washing the dishes. Like, no, it's fine. Like, leave it. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna help you out. Like, I have a role too here. Like, this is also my house. Like, I'm not gonna let my house go to shit.
Yeah.
Just because I worked all day.
Yeah. Like, it's insane. But like, see, you like touched on something that like, it runs like fine line stuff. So like, once you're understanding, you learn how to communicate and like you learn how to bring up problems.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to learn like not everything's a problem now.
Yeah.
So like, once you understand how to communicate and how to bring up a problem, that doesn't give you permission to fucking whine about everything. And I'm not saying that's what you did, but I'm just saying like, if you notice something, now you can look at something and you're like, I'm just being me. Like, this isn't a problem. This is me being me. Like, and then you let it go because you realize like, No, like this is just a me thing. Like this has nothing to do with anyone else. And like that's the biggest thing is like now I understand that. Like because I'll be like, what the. This isn't my fucking problem. Like this is just
this is
something
me.
I have an issue with, so it doesn't
No,
need to get brought up to
no, because
anyone.
like now, like for example, like I mean, I come home now,
Hmm.
dishes aren't done and clothes aren't folded, and I'll be like, yo, we want to put on a TV show while we wash the dishes and fold these clothes, you know, like it's about to be some relaxing time,
Yeah,
maybe.
like but now you get it. So like you come home and you'll see like the mess, like what you just said, but like now you have perspective and understanding, and you're like, no, I get it.
Yeah,
Like the craziest thing I learned how to do is like I've become like I live that phrase like it is what it is, or like it be like that. Like people just need to understand, just like man, the sooner you can let things go,
oh,
like
the better.
really let them go, you'd be surprised how much easier life is. Like if there's like an issue or something that happened and like or you're pissed off like you didn't get like this promotion or yada 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 like just, hey man let it go like
Wasn't meant to be at the
no
right time.
like I'm like super pissed that this person hasn't apologized like let it go man like don't hang on to it.
One thing that I've learned is some people, honestly, might not want to apologize
Yeah.
because they're just at the end of the day, they strongly feel that they're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like I feel like in a situation like that, it's like, you know what, I want an apology, but at the end of the day, it's like if I know for a fact deep down 100% you're not gonna give me one,
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole nother situation. You
Yeah.
know?
And like but at the end of the day just let it go. Like I had so much animosity like hate and anger like not only towards myself but like for my ex. But man, once I just let that shit go, like you'd be surprised.
It's different.
Like it's not on you to change anyone. Like you can explain people like what you like and what you don't like and that's fine. Like that's life. But like just don't hang on to that stuff, man. Like whatever people have been through, like got to learn how to accept things despite how like bad they are
Yeah.
or what's happened to you. Like this is a big thing with trauma like you got to understand that it happened. There's no changing it. Like this happened. Like you need to like work through it and you just eventually have to let it go. Like yes, it happened. Yes, this was this big thing in your life, but we're better now. So now we move past it. Because otherwise, you can never spend your life comparing your your past to your present because it's never going to be like that.
Yeah.
And it's like super shitty, but just learn to let things go. And like that's why like I you always know like I don't fuck with a lot of people. Like the second I have like a trust issue with someone, like my ass is gone.
Yeah.
Like you see like a smoke screen of me from like a
Smoke
cartoon.
grenade.
like I'm gone. Like I can't I have no time for anything like that. Like people get upset about so many things like they worry about like money or how they're going to do this, how they're going to do that like it'll get taken care of. Like you need to let it go. Understand that's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Like as a parent and like especially nowadays like that struggle is always going to be there. Learn to operate in it but let it go. Like you can't let it just riddle you with like anxiety and stress of like what the next thing's going to do. Some things you can control, like if your partner causes a shit ton of that in you,
Mm-hmm.
like let it go. Like not be cool with it. Like no, move the fuck on from that situation. Like if it's anything like that, like people just have to learn like when it's okay to walk away. Because that was the hardest thing with me in therapy is I was doing something and I had to go through photos of like my life and I was trying to find like a spot where I was like genuinely happy. Like every photo I have of me, I know a bunch of people can do it, but like I can tell you like where I was, what I was doing that day, and like why that photo was like happening. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The amount of photos I was like going through my phone, like trying to find one where like I knew I was happy. Like once I went past like this like second year, I was like, oh fuck,
It's hard.
it's very hard, and that's why like
It's sad to hear.
but like that's dude that was such a point of contention for me for such a long time is I was willing like so many people do and I holy shit my heart goes out to them Like I know what it's like to be in a bad spot and like stick it out. Mind you, like I can't preference that enough. Like because of how I was being treated, I was not better. I wasn't the victim in the situation. Like I too like wasn't fucking good. And like that's not skewed from anyone. Like I made a shit ton of fucking mistakes of like how I operated in my marriage and like looking back on it like it probably should have like ended way sooner than it did because I think we both one probably would have been in better places mentally because we didn't let things get as bad as they did.
Yeah.
um and two, just like move on, process it, and now like go on about like your lives now. But trying to track down a photo of me just like being happy, I was like, what the fuck's the matter with you, dude? Like, what year is it? Like, this is how far back? Like that's that's exactly
Yeah.
no. Like your giggle was like me, just like damn, like that's fucking crazy.
That's rough.
Mind you, like the photos I had were like I was happy, like I wasn't with like significant other, or it wasn't like a family photo. Like I was at class like teaching that day because I loved doing that. It was super fun. And that's not okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but my home life was so like scary to me that like no, it's like it was all horrifying. Like I
Yeah.
didn't like what I was doing. I didn't like anything about it. Like it sucked. I don't want anyone to like feel alone in their own home when you live with your family.
No, that's damn.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks because it's like there's like certain things that like I wish I could give people advice on,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, it's like I never went through anything like that. So like I can't even relate to you.
So yeah, but you don't always have to relate to give someone good advice because I always explain it. That's great that you say that, but like the way I explain it, even if you want to help, like it doesn't matter if it's like you haven't necessarily been there. But do you think the doctor that cured a specific form of cancer had that cancer?
Probably
No.
not.
Same thing. So if you want to be a good friend and like give your advice, just fucking run it. Like I understand the perspective might not be there, but the message still is.
Well, so I guess the way that I would try to reword what I said then is like I always have the problem where like I like to just say everything how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is like
Yeah.
oh like I think I've been doing this. I think I've been doing that. I'm like, dude, you want to hear it?
Yeah. No, you
You
have
know?
to. So that that is
I
the
guess
best
maybe
way you can
I
do.
guess maybe that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. And
And instead of like me saying like, oh I can't relate to you, like it's just oh like this is my advice. It's
no,
truthful. I guess maybe I don't know why. I just butchered that whole thing up.
no, but the way you do it, like it stings, but like if it's coming from that point of like love that you have to be blunt, you need to do it like that.
Oh yeah, man.
Like anyone that like I can't sugarcoat it for you. Like if I have to like be really honest, especially if like you fucked up, like I have to tell you that.
It's kind of what you're saying about like the bullying.
Yeah.
Like in a sense, you're not wrong, dude. Like maybe bullying should come back, maybe not.
Like
Just because it's like I feel like people are now just being too soft to the point like where
did you see it?
you hit me like fuck.
Dude, no, not even. I
I
said
don't know.
something.
It's just
I said something
yeah.
to you, and it caused a black eye. I don't know how that happened. Like my words can't do that. But the reason why it's because, like, dude, growing up and being bullied, like, once I learned, like, one, I didn't have to take it anymore. Two, when like I learned how to fight, like, now all of a sudden, like, it's not even like the call to violence. Although, like, every person needs to be okay applying violence to situations. Anyone that says otherwise is a fucking moron. But anyways, but like it's that confidence that you get. So like now, like once I learned, like, cause dude, I started boxing when I was 12 or 13. I had to do that because I was like, I had to do community service hours because I got in a lot of fucking trouble. Like once I learned how to box and I stopped being bullied, like I didn't turn into like this monster. Like now I know
Yeah.
how to throw hands, so like now I'm gonna just go beat up fucking
Floyd
everyone.
Mayweather.
No, like I learned how to defend myself, but like I also learned like I don't have to put hands on you.
Yeah.
Like even from like such a young age, like I never went like looking for a fight. There's probably one or two where I did, but like for the most part, it was always a defense mechanism. But it was the defense mechanism, like if like I couldn't talk my way out of it or just walk away. But my problem is like, especially being that young, and I still have this problem now. Like I'm really good at talking shit, but like
Yeah.
so like I also knew how to throw hands, so it was like double shitty. So like now I could talk shit and like somewhat like back it up when
Yeah. It's
it was
like, yeah.
happening. But like no, just when I learned confidence, like I learned one, I didn't like being called like a freak, a faggot, a this or that or anything. But I also learned like I don't want to do that to anyone else either. Like that's why I always had like a weird like my mom always used to say like my friends were like a children of misfit toys because every time you looked at me like I was never supposed to be in the group of people I was with.
Yeah.
Like which is
Everyone goes
yeah.
through a moment like that in life where you're with people you shouldn't be with.
No, meaning I don't look like I belong to that group of friends. Like I like did that guy get lost? Like that's what I mean.
No,
Like
that's what
like
I don't know.
not that they were bad, but like
Oh, okay, yeah, see, never mind.
like
I meant it that way.
no,
Like,
just like I had friends from like everywhere, like all walks of life, but they were like legitimate and like friends. They weren't like acquaintances, like my good friends out of like Belglade and Pahokee that I hung out with.
yeah,
Mind you, I've got plaid pants, a mohawk, and combat boots. Like I'm not like now you see like I'm not supposed to be there.
yeah,
Like yo, is our homie being mugged? Like no, this is just his friends. And then like I had like my friends in like Wellington and in Miami. Like I was always attached to like groups where like I did not fucking blend in with that
yeah.
group. but like, but yeah, I don't know. It was just like once I learned that like I didn't have to treat people like that, and I didn't want to be treated like that. It's just easier. But now I also know like if someone has a problem with me, it's not the end of the world. Like I can
It's
be
true
criticized
too.
from my boss because I like it's fine. Like I get it. Like I don't take it home with me.
Yeah.
Like and people that do like, hey man, just thicker skin. Like, but also it applies to like if your partner says like they have an issue with you, like they're not trying to fight you, which was my problem. Was every time there was an issue, you were trying to fight me, and like no, they're just trying to voice like an issue that they have that they want
So
resolved.
it can eventually evolve within itself.
Yeah, but like it's like what you said, how you would come home and certain things aren't done. Like, luckily, I don't know, you have a horseshoe up your ass, or you're lucky, or something. But like, if I'm in that situation of like being told like, hey, like how come this didn't get done? My instant thing would be like defense, and now we're in a full on fight. Like I didn't take a step back to realize like or try to explain like why something didn't get done. It was just like, what the fuck is your problem? Like because
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? Like I approached it to like such a way that like you wouldn't want to approach me if there was a problem. Like
Yeah.
I became such an asshole in that regards that like dealing with me was like was not
It
easy.
wasn't pleasant.
No. And like I get that, but like a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that like their mistakes in those situations. Like I get it. Like dude, I wasn't happy and I had my own problems. It was not helping the situation like doing what I was doing.
Yeah. It's, oh, I did want to touch upon on that one thing too. Going back to the whole bullying thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know like we keep going back to that, but it's something that it's weird enough. I had like a 30-minute conversation with somebody yesterday, literally just about that.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like bullying should come back
Mm-hmm.
because you're like kind of like what you said. It does make you like a stronger person.
Mm-hmm.
There is people that are gonna disagree
For sure.
just because they're the ones
They didn't get
that
over it.
that will think like this. They'll be like, oh no, like you might become a thicker skinned person. This person might just become crazy and shoot up a school or something.
Oh, spoiler alert. That's gonna happen regardless.
Mm,
But at least at the end of the day, like you get like a tougher breed of kid. Like I know I know my generation, 37-year-old, I've got that now. Like we were that last generation that like went through that. Like we still had bullies, we still had this, and then like the 90s came and then everything started to change, and it's like dude, being bullied sucked, and I'm not like an advocate that like you should fucking go bully people to make them better, but like it does,
no,
like especially if you
I
learn how
believe
to
so.
like deal with it, because everyone that was like legitimately like bullied and they learned how to take care of that situation, every time you meet them, like they're not assholes. Like they get it. They understand like
Yeah.
what that's like. And then it goes back to that point where like in some cases it is the bully who's like doing all these things and they come across that soul who's just like, nah, not today. And
Yeah.
they get pieced up, like then they can take a step back and like, oh shit. Like I should like this keeps happening now. Like I keep getting beaten up now. Like, okay, well stop being an asshole. You'd be surprised.
No, like I guess before we end this up, I know a friend of mine. Me and him got bullied together.
Mm-hmm.
Shitty childhood, you know. It is what it is though.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, like next thing you know, this kid's like, "Yo, I'm gonna go to jujitsu. I'm gonna take jujitsu class."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "I don't want to get beaten up no more." And I was like, "Damn, all right, bro." Next thing you know, I don't see him for a while. We transfer schools, see him again. Like, yo, like long time no see. And we go out, and he was gay.
Mm-hmm.
He was gay. And one time, I forgot what he was wearing. That I guess people knew that it was gay. I'm like so nonchalant
Yeah.
about things. And I think we were like just riding
I
our
like to hear
bikes
you
around.
say that, but he's wearing a shirt that just says like "I'm super gay," and you're just like, "This is crazy. How did they know?"
Bro, I don't know. I'm just so fucking like nonchalant about things. But anyways, like we're like I remember too. Like we were like in this area in Puerto Lucy where we just like ride our bikes around like a little mini downtown and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And some kids were like, "Yo, oh, faggot," oh
Mm-hmm.
like just they just said something to him, and he just like turned around. I was like, "Dude, come on, let's just go," you know.
He's
And
like,
he was like,
"No, not today."
he was like, "Handsome,
Yeah.
don't worry." Walks over there and literally goes, "What'd you say?" Dude, this kid does like some fucking magical spinning wheel kick, some shit. The kid's teeth like just go flying one way and just like walks back peacefully. He was like, "You want ice cream?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "I don't have money." And he was like, "Oh, I have the kid's wallet." I'm like, "Yo, double it up, baby."
Getting sprinkles.
Yeah, like, with chocolate chips.
Yeah, but like that's like it's just confidence. But it's also the confidence to know that like you can walk away, like just doing that and like, all right, I'm done.
No, like it just sucks because it's like I wish people viewed it differently. Like I wish like people would view it as like, oh, you know what? I got bullied.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get tough, man.
Yeah.
Like let me toughen up. Let me stop being so weak. Like let me become stronger. Unfortunately, people view it nowadays like, oh my god, I got bullied. Like my life's shit. It's just getting worse. Let me just go. Let me just go shoot up innocent people, or just do dumb shit. And now, you know what I mean? Like,
So like my real thought process behind that, and it's
mm-hmm.
I'm glad you said it, was like the people that have an issue with, mind you, I wish no one was bullied, and I
Oh
really
no,
do,
at the
but
same
like
time, yeah,
like the people that are like campaigning for like the no bully campaigns and stuff like that, that's people that found out that they couldn't do something because they were weak, and instead of learning how to like get around it, like they just accepted it. So now they do all these other things to stay like that and make it okay. And they want to let you know it's okay. You don't have to like be accountable for yourself. You don't have to learn how to get better or tougher or this or that. And so that's how that stays. And that's why like it spreads like cancer. Like if you're okay with being put in a spot that's like difficult and that's fine, you don't want to do anything about it, then you don't have a right to complain about anything going on. Like if you can go into something that's difficult and you're trying to get out of it, dude, you can even fail a multitude of times trying to get out of it, but you still keep going. Like you get it then. You understand it's a
yeah,
process. And like each time you fail, like you're getting tougher, you're understanding, you're gaining an experience. Like you can either win or you can learn a lesson. If that's a better way to put it. Like win
yeah,
or lose, you can either win or you can learn a lesson. And so with bullying, like, yeah, you have to acknowledge someone who's either bigger than you, like talked better than you, could fight better than you, or just something you have to acknowledge and be accountable. Like you weren't able to protect yourself, you weren't able to deal with that situation, and now a lot of people today don't know they can't do that. It's your fault. This is the way it is.
no, dude, I honestly I love that you said that. That was so wise because I've heard that they're like there was a video going around. It's like some dude was like, no, like it's okay to be bullied. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to, and I'm like, dude, like no, it's not.
Yeah.
Like it's not okay. Like why are you trying to justify it and make it seem like it is fine? Like it's most definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
That was really fucking wise of you though.
Yeah. What else you got for me? Is that it? I'm done.